This is the spoiler review for Queen and Slim.
Yes.
We are going to try and keep this under 10 minutes for the sake of my head not exploding, because I will wow out.
Yeah. Honestly, I really doubt that's going to happen to keep it under 10 minutes
It's probably not
for this movie.
But we aim high.
We are the Samurai Reviews with your
Yes.
hosts. We have Brett and Josh. Like he said, we're going to be reviewing Queen and Slim. This is the spoilers. So go check out our non-spoilers to kind of give why we gave the rating that we gave it, a 9.3 average. I gave it an 8.5. Brett gave it a 10. So yeah, go check out that first before you come and watch this, because we're going to get really into the details.
Also, go watch the movie.
Yeah, just definitely watch the movie. The one scene or scenes, because there's kind of two of them, just kind of playing. I'm just going to go in the big one. Just kind of playing back and forth, and
Is it the kid?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's when you're introduced to this little kid who's kind of moved by
How they stood up for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Slim. Well, I'm just going to call the guy Slim.
Yeah, that's fine. Slim is Daniel Kaluuya. Queen is what's her name? Turner Smith? Something Turner Smith. She's new. She's a new actress.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Kills it.
How is she a new actress?
Yeah, right?
Y'all missing out
Yeah.
on some casting.
She's definitely going to be in the next Black Panther movie.
Oh,
If she's not, I would be so mad. Right?
Disney, did you hear that?
Anyway, so it's when you're introduced to this black kid, and he's kind of moved by this movement that's happening because Slim defended himself.
Yeah, and the
And shot
tapes
the cop.
have gone public. The
yeah,
dash
it's
cam has gone public. and
Like 200. And
it was at
some-
100,000 like that night that
He
happened.
was explaining.
And
that.
this had been like a few days later.
Anyway, so the kid goes to this riot that's happening. Riot, not riot.
It is a protest.
It's a protest. It turns out.
Nice Fox News. Okay, so it's already kind of heating up. There's a face off between, Riot Shield police and the protesters, and they're yelling and venting their frustration at the system. And the cops are just doing their jobs, whatever. And this kid goes charging through people, goes to the front and starts screaming at the cops too. They throw in the smoke, so people start dispersing.
Yeah.
And he runs. I think he fights with an officer at first and then runs. He starts swinging at an officer.
He kind of.
There was someone that was getting beat.
The thing is
on the
that
ground with a
he
baton.
has this conversation with them before where he wants to be noticed or something like that, but he
Yeah.
runs away. But then he stops and he's like, "You know what? No,
This is I want to make a stand
I
like
wanna-
he
yeah.
did.
I want to be noticed."
Yeah.
So then that's when he stops. He turns around, and then this other cop's there, and he's all like,
Yeah, and
"Hey,
he's
like
a
you,
he's
like,
a black cop too,
uh-huh.
and he's like, dude, I need you to leave. I need you to get off the street. I'm trying to keep you safe too.
Yeah.
I feel you. I feel your frustration, but you need to. We're just trying to do our jobs and keep the streets clear. Please just get out of here." And he's like, and he has. So the kid is being combative and stuff,
The kid's like, "What are you gonna
but
do?
he's
Kill
trying
me?
to help him. Yeah,
What are
and
you
he's
gonna
like,
do,
no.
kill me?"
He's
And
like,
then-
no, look, I'm just.
No.
And he's
I don't
very
even
calm.
have a gun. Just
Yeah, he took
calm
off his
down."
mask to get
Yeah.
on his level, and then the kid pulls a gun, and points it straight at the cop's head, and the cop's like, "Hey, man!" He's still fully he's trying to help this kid.
He's like, "I know you're in the moment. I know, but
Yeah.
you got to think. You got to look what's going on." And I'm just all like, "Okay, this black kid is going to actually lower his weapon and just go to." But instead, straight on just shoots the cop in the face,
Yeah,
and I'm just all like,
and
it got me
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
I
it-
jumped. I was like,
it wasn't
not
at the
expecting.
sound or anything. It was a physical reaction to just the moment of the scene, and I had the same thing. I was like I tensed up and
Yeah.
ooh, it was hard to watch because you see the kid's face. The kid did a great job of acting, by the way. His face went
shoots.
from frustration and anger to just fear and what have I
What am I
done?
ready to
Because
do?
in that scene, what they're showing is he's mad about the system that is systematically oppressing people of his race, and it is, and that's a just thought process. So he feels like he's not heard. He feels like he's not seen. And he's like, I need to be seen. These people have been seen, Queen and Slim, because they shot a cop. And you know, I want to be remembered like that. Because he even talks to them about legacy earlier. And like how he's like, if you die, you'll be remembered. You'll be immortal. And that's okay. So they kind of even like almost foreshadow it. But they did it in such a way where I wasn't even thinking of it.
They're just all like, I don't want to die.
Yeah. So that's the thing. He misinterprets their message, and that's kind of where it shows these different perspectives. Where he's like, "I need to be violent to stop this violence," and he ends up being the problem. He's mad that people are killing innocent black people, and then he does that because he doesn't. He's convinced himself that cops aren't people as well, and that's why it shows like every side of this. And you have and that also cops very much support this sort of movement, because there's a ton of cops in this movie that like actually try and fix the broken system. And the kid just kind of like has a moment where he doesn't think, and it ends up getting him killed. I thought it was very kind of them not to show us him dying, but they did tell us about it later. It was a really, really rough scene to watch, just because you see these two people that are really just like, both of them, like even the kid honestly is innocent. He's scared because of real reasons. And that was definitely one of the like hardest hitting scenes for me. And this was overlaid. This was the scene that was overlaid with, there was a very like passionate like love scene with the two main characters. And it's trying to show you like what we can take out of the situation. You can either take hatred and fear and roll with that, or you can take like love and happiness and security and like embrace that. And it's a dichotomy of the two. And that's where I think I was talking about in the non-spoilers. If you watched, I think that's the part where people might be like, why the hell are they doing this? This doesn't fit. And that's the point is that they're almost polar opposites. It's two people taking a situation very different ways. And the people he's trying to idolize are actually the people trying to make the best of what they have. And it's a really beautiful scene, and it's a really sad and f***ed up scene. And they cut them together perfectly, I think, timed wise.
Yeah, because of that, it shows duality. Yeah. And that's one of the things that's one of the things you're actually taught in like film school, is like you have to have some kind of duality.
People are complex. You have to show those complex emotions and reactions to things, and that was perfect. Another scene, and then I'll do one more that I'm thinking of, and then I don't know if you have too many more or whatever, but you can hit those, and then we'll do the ending one. Yeah. So one scene I wanted to touch on that I feel like might be overlooked is there is a sheriff. It's the first person they meet after shooting the officer that was trying to kill them.
They're in Kentucky.
Yes.
And they're driving through and they lose gas. Mm-hmm. It's empty because they're kind of in the moment. They're like, I wasn't looking at the gas. And they're like, well, why not? And I'm all like, I just killed a person, like. Which,
by the way, real quick, their growth in their relationship is so refreshing to see. Like, it's not perfect. And they're with each other as a matter of necessity, and then they grow to love each other, and it's awesome. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so, and then they're like, okay, well, we need to wave this car down because we need help. I saw a gas station like back there or something like that. We need to get gas. And then so they wave this car down and they hitch a ride.
Really helpful cowboy hat wearing, flannel wearing guy. Yeah. He's really nice to him.
Nice guy. And then they realize he's a cop. And the thing is they kind of just get like a little tense and nervous. And the police officer, the sheriff, finds out that it's basically
he gets
them.
Like his walkie like radios like, hey, two guys, and they described them and their car that they were in. Yeah. And she has a gunshot wound already, so it's pretty obvious that it's them.
He's staring out the window, and it's taking him a while to just like process everything. But really the thing is that he's just really thinking because I think the reason why he's really thinking is because he talked to them in the car, and he's like, these they're not bad people.
Yeah.
And then that's where he's all like,
And he knows he doesn't know the full situation.
yeah, that's where he's all like, oh man, what should I do? Like, I think in my heart, like, I know they're not bad people, but as a sheriff, like, I need to get him in, and that's where it's just where he's just standing there. They can kind of tell that
he's figuring it out, and so when he comes out, they pull the gun. They're, like, in the car, and they have him drive, and he's, like, telling them about his personal life, and he's like, look, I don't know what happened, and they're like, it was an accident, it was self-defense, and he's like, I believe you guys, but, like, let me help you. Like, he's still very calm and collected, and he's like, I'm listening. I will listen. Let me try and help. I'll make sure that you guys are safe. And obviously, like, they have no, like, inclination to trust people right now.
Yeah.
So I totally understand where they're just like we're not going to kill you. And I think that was a big moment where they're like, we don't want to kill you. And that was like the whole time. Like, that's where the kid scene comes in, because it's like their whole story, like, they don't do a violent thing the rest of the movie. And they are presented with plenty of opportunities to do that. Guns are pointed at them, like, throughout this whole thing, and they act in a because they're innocent. Mm-hmm. They're human beings. So they're like, we're not going to kill you. We just need you to get in this trunk. And then they drive off with his car. And this is the part where I need to set that up, but this is the part where I want to talk about. They have his car for about 2 days. He never calls in his car stolen. Because he really does, he probably saw the dash cam footage, I would assume, right after that, to see if what they were saying was true. And when he saw it was, this is obviously speculation because it's not stated in the movie, but it seemed to me like he would have figured it out. He would have seen the footage, and he would have saw how they did defend themselves. And he was like, I'm not going to turn them in. Like, I understand the complexity of the situation. Yeah. Because cars, they get called in on cars the rest of the movie. Like, I think 2 cars. Yeah. So the Honda they started in, and then the blue car, the Pontiac. That
his uncle gives them.
They get called in, but the truck never gets called in. And I think it's because that sheriff really does, like, support. And he even says, like, I've known people that crossed the line before. Like, I understand.
I think he understands the system and why they're doing what they're having to do is run away. So that's why he doesn't call.
I thought it was really great of them to have, like, a good cop right after having this, like, racist cop, and, like, be like, look, like, if you understand and accept that the system needs fixing, you're doing your job, and no one's going to be mad at you for that.
Yeah. So the thing is that he also had, like, this little Southern accent.
Yeah, he was very stereotypically Kentucky. South, and so you're kind of already like, but he was like, the nicest guy in the movie. So, like, yeah, I think he was the nicest guy in the movie. But that's like the whole point of the movie is, like, these stereotypes mean nothing. Yeah. That's how you act, and I thought that was a really cool, like, little thing that may or may not have happened, but that's how I saw it, and I thought it was really cool that they were, like, off the bat, like, okay, we're going to show you that this movie is not against cops. Like, we are not, like, we are very pro police. It's a pro police movie.
That's where I kind of get at where they're really playing with, like, the antagonists of this movie, where you're just like, okay, so he's the antagonist, but no, he's not it's not a specific person. And that's where I like it. And you do get different sides of each extra character that are introduced while these 2 main characters are going through the story. Like, you run into, it's a small scene, you run into this fat guy. Okay. He gets hit by the car, and they're taking him to the hospital, and he has, like, this view on them. And stuff,
but he's also like, kill cops. And so you're like, oh, that guy's kind of a
that's a little bit
but, like,
extreme.
He's being really friendly to these people that have been wrong. So, like, there's complexity to every character that you meet. It's amazing.
And then they run into their uncle, her uncle, Queen's uncle.
Yeah.
Where you get, like, his backstory.
He's PTSD,
and stuff like that,
ex-soldier that, like, doesn't feel accepted when he comes back to the States, and he takes it out on everyone in his life, really.
You kind of get his good and bad side of it, because he does help him, but he kind of
But he's a domestic
doesn't
abuser,
really help him.
and yeah, he definitely has his own problems. But he is a very he tries to be a good uncle.
Yeah.
And Queen is very receptive of that, and is very forgiving, and like there's a lot of depth to their relationship that we cannot cover.
You kind of move on to this. I don't know which one comes first, but I'm gonna just talk about the car mechanic one first, where they need to fix their car, and he's all like, "I know who you are," like.
He's like, I don't approve of what you do.
I'm all like, yeah, I don't approve of what you do, but you're paying me, so I'm gonna help you fix the car. Yeah. And then you get his son, which was the one that killed the cop in that scene, and you get his side of the story where
he just has this emulation for them, but he directs it in a negative way, and it just turns into something that he's mad at. He becomes the problem.
Yeah, and then you run into this other white family where they're like, hey, just stay here, we're gonna give you the meal, I know you're hungry, but then like his wife's all like, no, I need you to get out of here. But then in the end, she protects him, and you're just all like, oh well, she's a nice lady, in the end. Just like, she's just scared in the moment, and that's probably why she said it, of like to just leave, and all that stuff. But like, you get different sides to them, and that's what makes this movie such a great job. And you get a different side of the smuggler, the one that takes him to the airport plane,
super friendly,
where he's all like, dude, I'm on your side, but he wasn't on their side.
He's like, you gave black people something to believe in, and that's really important. And then he's the one who ends up turning them in.
Yep.
And in the end, and it's all about money, and that's the thing. It's a black man. Yeah. And he's like, I love what you do. It's inspired people. And he means it. Like, he's not feigning it. He like means it. It's just money is how the world runs. And
you see his living situation too, where he goes to a trailer. Mm-hmm. He's living in this trailer house. It's not that of a comfort living. And he's like smoking and like doing drugs. And, his like teeth is basically
full on grill.
Yeah. I get his side of the story where
he's trying to make his money because he's in a system where he feels like he can't, and so he has to kind of like he's the way I think he sees it is he's like, these people have inspired people no matter what. I might as well make money, and he's not like, I'm sentencing them to death exactly, because he might think, oh, they'll just get arrested, and then they'll get out and they'll have money. So there's definitely complexity to his decision that we don't really get to see, but we don't like, that's not the point.
You also get the different sides of Queen and Slim, and their character change kind of just in the end, where you also get a different side of them in the end as well. So like, this movie does a really great job with that. Now that we're kind of more at the end part of the movie, I do want to talk about the ending where, yes, it was predictable, they were going to die, but that's not the point.
The way, though, everything happens.
It was the emotional journey that you get by following these characters. Let's say like Romeo and Juliet, where everybody loves that story. It's one of the Shakespeare's classic story. It's kind of remade so many times, and everybody just loves that story. It's a tragic ending, and it's going to be a tragic ending. But why is it so favored? It's because of that journey that they're going through and their love, that we're so connected with these characters that it makes it a good story. And that's what this movie does.
It hits you hard with it. I'm trying to think of a way to like...
You get that, and you get more because they're adding more complexity to like the society and the modern day way of living between all these other characters and their situations in life and that kind of stuff. And it's just so complex, but made in a good flow.
Yeah, I really don't know what else to like. I want to talk about the ending, but there's really not much else to say just to watch it. Like, you just need to see it, because I really don't understand. Like, either you've seen it and you get it.
See the movie, go watch a non-spoiler, and then go watch the spoilers. Yeah. You'll understand what we're talking about.
I can't really put words to it right now, at least. We'll do one quick racist IMDb for you. Because you knew it was
an
coming.
IMDb review of Queen and Slim because we figured there will be some interesting comments out there for this movie.
Any movie with a black person in it.
compared to like Frozen 2. So
Yeah. We have a review clearly written by a white person. I'm calling out all of us right now. This is definitely written by a white person. You'll understand soon. You don't understand how hard it is for us. We're the victims. What did white people ever do?
be lazy.
That's the worst thing we've done, though. Here we go. Dive in. Queen and Slim. This is by Marty Musross. I saw this at an unlimited secret screening. Ultimately, this movie was so fatally flawed in so many aspects, it just left a nasty taste in the mouth. Strong acting from the two leads. He thought the female character was cold and manipulative, and too much so to believe that they could fall in love. Which that was her growth, though, was she was this guarded person who was so focused on the injustice of the society that she couldn't enjoy life for what it was. And that was the point of her character, that she was like that, and then she grew out of it. That was like the whole. That's the whole. We're not even a tenth of the way through this guy's review, and we're already like, you missed. Yeah, no, that's the. If you thought that was a problem, you missed the point. Said music was good. Then he gets a section called "What Was Totally Hashed." The first one, the plot. It says the nasty Tinder date led to being stopped by the police. They swerved in the car. They barely swerved. It looked more like, oh, we're turning here? Never mind. Swerved in the car, and this led the policeman to quite rightly believing he was driving while under the influence. You've never driven in Utah. Because that's like everybody here.
Yeah, everybody gets out of their lanes.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I have so much space. But yet Utah drivers are like,
yeah. Like what I'm saying, it looked like he was just like, oh, no, we're not turning here. I've done that plenty of times. So quite rightly believed he was under the influence for that. This guy must only drive drunk. Like, he says, I've been stopped. Okay, this is maybe it's not my least favorite. I really hate this argument, though. I've been stopped, and I complied to the letter, to the instructions that the policeman gave me. Why would you antagonize, backchat, sass a man with a gun? Because he's a policeman and held to a higher standard in society. That's how it works. And like, they were complying, and he was abusing his power. He brought him out to do a DUI check. He frisked him and then tried to search his car. That's not a DUI check. And he had the right to do both of those things because he asked Daniel Kaluuya's character, who was being very diplomatic, because he was like, hey, I'll just give you what you want, and then we can leave. And he was trying to do that, what he's saying. And then the woman is the law, knowing that he's not legally allowed to search his car. I mean, he got his compliance, so he was. But if Daniel Kaluuya had said no, he could not have searched the car. And she's kind of saying, like, dude, don't. Like, let's just leave. You can't search the car. Tell him he can stop. Because Daniel Kaluuya can tell him to stop searching the car whenever he wants.
But he was all like, yeah, go for it. Like, go ahead. Like, I have nothing to hide.
So that's why she was
only asked
antagonizing
one
him.
question where he's all like, can you hurry up? Like, it's cold. And then he's all like, no.
Yeah, and then he pulls the gun.
What's going on?
Yeah, so, he wasn't complying because he was cold.
Like, dude, if I would have said that to a cop and he pulls a gun on me, I'd be like,
well, that's the thing. The whole point of the scene is like, what are you supposed to do? And it's not something that's like, that would never happen. Next part he talked about is the choices. So he says, as a lawyer, she knew with the camera footage, she had a chance of arguing her case in court. She knew that she could never run. So why did she try? First of all, she did run. She could run. He says this is quite ridiculous. Also, how does she know that there is camera footage? Like, yes, cops are supposed to have camera footage. There are many cases, too many, where camera footage doesn't work or just doesn't work. There's a recent story I heard where a guy was apparently sexually assaulting people towards the end of each one of his shifts, and he would turn off his camera, and when he pulled over someone, would sexually assault him. And it was actually here in Utah. It's one of the cops here. And that's a real thing that happens. So she did not know that. And as a lawyer, she would understand that sometimes that happens, especially with the way this cop was acting. Fortunately, he did have the camera footage. Otherwise, this movie would have been crazy different. Which it still had a bad ending. That's kind of the point. So anyone, and I've seen that throughout IMDb where people were like, she's a lawyer. Why was she being such a dick? Like, because she was a lawyer and she understood that he was abusing his power.
And she knew the system.
Yeah, that's exactly why. Next one was the tone. Much of the plot was comedic and not specifically an issue-led race movie. But towards the end, it became inferred that the whole movie was about race. Completely went over your head, dude. Completely went over your head.
This movie was really that funny?
It also, yeah, it had
you said the tone was comedic.
It was more like touching at times.
I never felt it was comedic. Jojo Rabbit was comedic.
The like guy that they accidentally hit and he's like, Black Power, like that guy was pretty funny. But yeah, it was, I would not say it was, I definitely wouldn't say it's too comedic.
For me, I was just like, dude, calm down, man. Like,
yeah.
Black Power, like,
yeah.
I was like, dude, just hold on.
And the fact that they inferred the whole movie was about race, like, it's about how we treat race. It was very much about the system, but it's so much more complex than that. Like, I don't know what, and he doesn't really expound on it. He just says, well, it wasn't as a black cop was gunned down as well. So, like, he's saying, so yeah, it wasn't just about, it's called nuance, dude. Like, what, this guy is so I can't, like, this guy. It's already happening. I'm getting pissed. So, there was a good deal of stylistic elements that distracted from the drama. For example, cutting between the sex scene and the protest march. See that? Way up there? It's the message going over your head. This guy just needs to quit movies. It's a lot more complex. It's too complex for you, dude. Like, don't write a review on something you don't understand.
I just think he just doesn't understand the storytelling and the power of storytelling in editing.
Only
and
movie
why
that this guy can understand is Shazam, because it's for kids.
Yeah, it is.
Lastly, ending was quite moronic, and clearly were unarmed, so would not have been gunned down.
Yes, they would have been gunned down.
You are so blind to the world. Like, also when they're advancing on you, this is the complexity part of this movie, is policy-wise. Most policies, it's a felony stop, it's a high-risk stop, they're armed. Policy-wise, the police, as he was advancing, I don't approve of their decision here, but they were entitled to fire on him.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the point, is it took someone to stand up to their own system and say, hey, maybe I risk my safety so that we all can go home. Like, it's a complex situation. The point is, like, what do you do? Like, there's no really good answer in this situation that we have set up for ourselves.
He's already emphasized with the main characters. He's like carrying his loved one and he's moving towards them. But the thing is as a cop, if I were them with the gun, I'd be like, dude, he has a bomb strapped in. I don't know. He might come in.
He has a walking, gun, and he's
supposed to be armed, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he has a bomb on him. He might come in and he might just try to kill all of these cops here. Like,
it's a high.
Like you just said, it's a high profile like risk. I don't want any of my comrades to die. He's advancing and he's not listening to what we're saying. Yeah. I'm gonna go shoot.
Yeah. And again, we don't agree with that decision.
We don't agree with it.
But that is the policy, that is the complexity of the thought process of that scene.
It's not like you want to go up and be like, hey, guys, okay, hold on. I got this. And he's going to go across that line.
And you're supposed to explain in like 2 seconds, like the whole, like.
But you're risking your own life.
Yeah.
But like, what if that person has a family and kids? Like, are you.
Is that because you saw a cop die early? It's so more complex than you're trying to make it, dude. Last paragraph of this guy's review.
Okay.
He gave it a 3, by the way. Lastly, I have had a gut full of issue-led movies that demonize men, white people, politicians, policemen, equality, social security, etc. Hollywood is just not the best place to contrive a drama to raise issues, as it is all so unbalanced. There was one bad cop in the whole movie, and there were at least 20 cops in the movie. There were more bad African American characters than there were bad white characters than there were bad cops in this movie. Mm-hmm. So if you really think that this movie demonized men, white people, and policemen, dude.
Whoa, did you just see that?
Did it go? Nothing goes over my head. I would jump up and catch it. We need Drax for this guy.
Yeah.
If you think that because there was one bad white character, that is too many bad white characters, and even though there were more bad African American characters, bad, because there was nuance to this movie, as we've said multiple times, because this guy doesn't understand, and I feel like there are plenty of people out there that don't. So, and yeah, if you're thinking that if there's one bad racist white person in a movie, and that is unacceptable, like, go f*** yourself. And that is all.
Thanks for watching our spoiler part of a review for Queen and Slim. Yes. Check us out on our next review video. We're going to do something different where we're going to re-rate our ratings and kind of go through our movies that we rated
Critique
before.
Ourselves.
Yes. So, check that out, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yes.
On Samurai Reviews.
Perfect.
Did you not watch the movie? Did you not watch the movie? Ah!